Okay, let's give you guys some more practice. So sketch the graph of this function here. You probably have to stare at this for a while. Stare at this and try and find out. Try and use your imagination to try and find out what's going on. If you visualize this as x to the power of a fifth, maybe, and then if you think about it, uh, x to the power half, which is the square root, it looks like this. So this is the square root of x, and then x to the power 4 looks something like this. X to the power of 6 looks something like this. And then if you think about it, x to the power of um, of a third, which is the cube root, you are allowed to enter the negative realm. Okay, and then x to the power of a fifth, then you can still enter the negative realm. So try and find out what's going on. Well, you got to use your imagination. Okay, so press pause and have a go. Okay, so to do this here, visualize this thing here as this. Okay, so you've got something to the power of a fifth. Now, so try and if you look at x to the power of of a third, x to the power of a third, it's that which is the cube root, uh, which is a cube root. So it will be something like this. Okay, so something to the power of a fifth will look something like this. Okay, so you can see that as as this bubble increases, if you look at a graph of x to the power of a fifth, it will do something like this. You see, it is actually increasing. Now, it is actually increasing. It's climbing, meaning that as x tends to infinity, f of x, well, in this case here, it is climbing. It is also heading towards infinity. But the thing is, it's heading towards infinity very slowly. But it is heading towards infinity. So as x tends to infinity, then this whole thing here also tends to infinity, but very slow. Okay, and then looking at this graph here, if x tends to negative infinity, then then also this thing here is also heading towards negative infinity, but it's doing it very slowly. Okay, but the point is that it is heading towards infinity as well, negative infinity in this case. Okay, so if you look at this, as this bubble heads towards to as this bubble gets very big, then this whole thing here will also head towards infinity. If this bubble here, if this bubble here becomes negatively big, if that makes sense, yeah, if it gets if if this bubble here heads towards negative infinity, then the whole thing here will also head towards negative infinity. Because look, it is falling, so it is heading towards negative infinity. Okay, so the point is that we know this bubble here. So looking at this here, x to the power of 3 looks like this. Okay, so we know that this thing here, it is climbing all the time. The bubble itself, I'm not talking about the whole function. I'm talking just the bubble itself. The bubble itself is climbing, and well, +2 will be here. So okay, maybe something like this. Okay, but the bubble itself, it is heading towards infinity. It is climbing. The bubble itself here does actually climb towards infinity. The bubble itself here also falls towards negative infinity as well. So you can see that because you've got, well, this thing here, well, as x tends, so we can actually say this now, as x tends to infinity, then the whole function itself will also head towards infinity. As x tends towards negative infinity, the whole function itself heads towards negative infinity. So we can, our graph will look something like this. Okay, yes, it is. I wouldn't guess it to climb like this because it will be a shallow climb, but it is heading towards infinity. So we can guess that it's climbing slowly. It's climbing slowly. Okay, and here it's also, well, it is falling slowly. So we can guess this so far. the next step is try and find the intercept. So the y-intercept and the x-intercept, they're normally quite easy to find. Okay, so when x equals 0, so meaning that when x equals 0, so when x equals 0, so it's going to hit somewhere along here. We're going to try and find out where the line hits along here. Okay, so when x equals 0, okay, hang on. So when x equals 0, f of x, well, put 0 into here. So blah blah. So this would be your intercept. Okay, and then find out when f of x equals 0. Well, f of x equals 0. That will mean this. F of x equals 0 somewhere along this line here. You see, at this level here, f of x equals 0 here. So when you set this function to equal 0, you're in a way trying to find out the x-intercept. Okay, it could be up here. Well, sorry, it could be over here. Well, the next step here is to set f of x equals to 0. That's this, and then when you're here, power both sides. Well, power to the power 5. That doesn't really make sense, but power it to the 5 here. So these two will multiply with each other. So that will then become the bubble itself here. Okay. So remember x to the power of a to the power of b, that equals x to the power of ab here. Okay. And then take away blah blah blah. X equals this. Remember, it's only x. It's only the square root of x where you cannot enter the negative realm. X to the fourth root of this here cannot enter the negative realm. But if you have x to the power of a third, sorry, yeah, this here can enter the negative realm. Well, doesn't matter. Just know that the x here equals this. Okay, it can be. You can have a minus number in here. Okay, so that approximates to minus 1.3. So now we know our graph to look something like this. We know that as x tends towards infinity, this is tending blah blah blah, and then but the thing is, we know it crosses here. Okay, and we also know that it crosses here. Okay, so our graph, we're going to guess it might look something like this, maybe. Okay, so so far that's where we're at. Okay.